Hello everyone and welcome back. In today's video we have a trade and signing update video. We're looking at the 8 signings that happened over the 10th and the 11th, and we're also looking at one very interesting trade we saw over on Sunday between the Penguins and the Canucks. We'll get to all these things coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the End-to-End Hockey channel. Now before we get into this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this without all of you guys, so if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below, don't forget to leave a comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And don't forget to stay tuned for more videos coming out in the very near future. So in today's video, we've got a signing and trade update video. We're going to first look at the 8 signings that happened over the 10th and the 11th. And then we're going to look at the one trade that happened over on Sunday between the Canucks and the Penguins. So we're going to start off with the signings. The first signing here is in the Florida Panthers organization. They have signed one of their RFAs, a rookie from last year, and that's Mackie Samoskevich, the RFA, who's 22 years old. He's a right wing / center. He signs a 1-year league minimum deal for the Florida Panthers. It's not a bad deal. Samoskevich had 15 goals and 31 points in 72 games in his first full season at the NHL level last year. I think long term, Samoskevich can definitely be a top 9 forward for the Panthers. So 1-year league minimum is a steal and a half for the Panthers. And especially if they do want it moving off of someone because they're over the cap right now, I think Samoskevich is going to be a really solid pickup here for the Panthers. So very interesting note there. Then we saw San Jose Sharks pick up one of the UFA goaltenders to add some goalie depth, and that's Jacob Skarek. Skarek gets a 1-year league minimum deal. Skarek is not an NHL level goaltender. He's a 3rd stringer at best, potentially even a 4th stringer. He signs a 1-year league minimum deal. It's just going to provide San Jose some depth. Like if they do run into some injuries, I could see Skarek be your 3rd stringer and be called upon if like Askarov and Nedeljkovic run into some injuries, or if they move Nedeljkovic and need someone to back up Askarov at the trade deadline. But besides those options, I really think Skarek will be mostly AHL level guys, so interesting pickup there for San Jose. Then we saw the Colorado Avalanche extend one of their top-end defensemen, and that is Josh Manson. Manson, who was eligible for an extension as of July 1st, gets a 2-year contract extension, AAV of $3.95 million. So he gets just over $500,000 less than his current deal right now. It's only a 2-year deal. Manson's 33 years old, so it's not an overly bad deal there. For the Colorado Avalanche, he can still be a solid 2nd pair defenseman. By the end of the contract, will probably be more of a 3rd pair guy, but it's really good. Playoff style defenseman, right shot guy, can play in the top 4 right now, can play 2nd pair minutes. Not a bad deal there for the Avalanche. Had a goal and 15 points in 48 games this past year. Did suffer some injuries, so long as Manson can stay healthy, I definitely think this is going to be a solid pickup here for the Avalanche. After he had 25 points in 76 games the year prior for Colorado, so not a bad deal, but there in my opinion, I think Manson for 2 years at under $4 million might even be a steal. So a solid signing there for the Avalanche as they extend Josh Manson. The last signing we saw on July 10th was with Vancouver, as they have signed 2nd round pick from the 2025 draft, Alexei Medvedev, to a 3-year ELC with an AV of $923,000. Medvedev's a goaltender. He was one of the first goaltenders taken off the board. With the trade we're going to be talking about here in the next couple of minutes, the Canucks now have their new goalie of the future. I think long term, like in 3 or 4 years time, Medvedev could take over for Demko and Lankinen and be the team's starter long term. So a solid sign there for the Canucks as they get their 2nd round pick, Medvedev, who's a goaltender, potentially the goalie of the future, to a new deal. So very interesting note there. And then we also saw 4 more signings. First, with the Minnesota Wild, they signed AHL RFA forward Michael Malny to a 1-year league minimum deal. Malny is a winger. He's more of an AHL level guy. Could potentially be a call-up option, but I wouldn't expect too much at the NHL level out of him this year, so very interesting note there. The Winnipeg Jets signed Isaac Phillips to a 2-year $813,000 deal. Phillips started last year in Chicago, was dealt mid-season to Winnipeg, got very limited NHL minutes, was mostly AHL level guy. He, at this point in time, is mostly AHL level guy. I could see him potentially maybe be like an NHL level guy as like a 3rd pair defenseman, but at this point in time, more of an AHL level guy. Could easily see him be a call-up option or a spare defenseman this upcoming season for the Jets. It's not a bad deal there for the Jets to sign Phillips, who was an RFA. The Carolina Hurricanes go in the UFA market, get some added defensive depth as they signed Gavin Bayreuther to a one-year league minimum deal. Bayreuther a couple of years ago was a player who got some NHL minutes in Columbus and Dallas, was a guy who was picked up in the expansion draft by Seattle, never even played for them. Bayreuther is more of an AHL level guy. He can play as like a 6'7" defenseman and can be called upon to be a third pair guy after running through some injuries. So I expect this to be more of an AHL level sign there for the Canes, but I could see him get into some NHL action. So very interesting note there. And then we saw the San Jose Sharks, I think probably the biggest signing that we're going to talk about here today, and that is signing veteran forward Jeff Skinner after 1 year in Edmonton. Not overly great stretch and only getting very slim amounts of playoff opportunities in his first taste of playoff action. He signs with probably one of the teams who are guaranteed to not make the playoffs. A 1 year, $3 million deal for Skinner. He's a left winger. He's 33 years old, had 16 goals, 29 points in 72 games with Edmonton. So he signs an identical deal to the one he signed last year with Edmonton. It's not a bad pickup there. I think Skinner will work in the top six, play with guys like Eklund, Celebrini, Will Smith. I could see him put up like 20, 25 goals next year, maybe 45, 50 points. I could see him be one of the point leaders in San Jose. I would not be one bit surprised if he's doing that good, that he could potentially be dealt at the trade deadline, especially if the Sharks will retain half of his contract. So very interesting note there. But the San Jose Sharks have signed Jeff Skinner to a 1 year, $3 million deal to sort of round out their top six for this upcoming season. So very interesting note there. But the Sharks signed Skinner. The Avalanche extend Manson. Sam Moskevich gets a new deal in Florida. And then we saw some AHL players sign new deals. And we also saw Medvedev get his ELC. And then we also saw one very interesting trade I want to talk about here. It's between the Vancouver Canucks and the Pittsburgh Penguins. The trade is as follows. The Pittsburgh Penguins acquire Arturs Silovs from the Vancouver Canucks for Chase Stillman and a 2027 4th round pick. So for the Penguins, this is a deal you make all day long. They just move off of Alex Nedeljkovic. They needed someone who could potentially be the backup. They do have Blomqvist, but I think they'd be okay moving Blomqvist on waivers for Silovs. Silovs is in the final year of a 2-year deal, AAV of $850,000. He's a goaltender. Wound up getting into 10 games this year at the NHL level, putting up a 3.65 GAA and 861 save percentage. Hasn't gone to a whole bunch of NHL games, only has a career of 19 NHL games at the NHL level, but this past year had a solid season over in the AHL, putting up a 908 save percentage and 2.41 GAA in 21 games, and led the Abbotsford Canucks to the Calder Cup Championship. So, I mean, all in all, it was a fantastic season from Silovs, even though he didn't make the NHL level, and I think long-term has the potential to be a starter at the NHL level. So, I could see Silovs be a backup this year to Jari. I think in a year or two's time could wind up being the Penguins starter. So this is a fantastic pickup in my opinion for the Penguins, especially with what they had to give up. For the Canucks, after Demko signed that long-term extension, this sort of became apparent that this was going to happen. Silovs was waivers eligible, and with Lankinen and Demko now on multi-year deals, they didn't have a space for Silovs at the NHL level, so they wound up having to move him. The Canucks acquired Chase Stillman, who's a former first-round pick in the final year of his ELC. He's a winger, he's 22 years old, has never played the NHL level in his career, does have 4 goals and 12 points in 65 games at the AHL level this past year, so definitely a little bit of a step back after he had 24 points in 54 games the year prior. So I do think Stillman could still be a solid bomb 6 guy for the Vancouver Canucks, but it's probably still going to be a year or two away before that happens. So an interesting pickup here for the AHL, but Stillman's not going to be an NHL level player for the next couple of seasons. Well, they also get a 2027 4th round pick from the Pittsburgh Penguins. So just an added draft capital. 4th rounder, a couple of years down the road. The Penguins may be a good team by then, may not be. So we shall wait and see on that. But a really solid pickup here for the Penguins, a deal in which I do think the Penguins win by getting Silovs. So a very interesting note there. But those are all the moves we're going to talk about here today. I loved your guys' thoughts. What do you think about all the trades and signings from today? Who do you think wins the Silovs deal, Pittsburgh or Vancouver? And what do you think of the 8 signings we talked about in this video? Definitely let your thoughts on all of that down in the comment section below. That's all I'm going to talk about for today. Remember to like this video, and if you're listening, subscribe below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this with all of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Don't forget to stay tuned for more videos coming out in the very near future. Also the blog, talk about news, rumors, analysis, and for that, so check that out. I'll link to that in the description below. Can't wait to see you guys all for the next video. See you guys soon.